And everyone, we are live. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday night. Now we are practicing social distancing here, right? We do have our masks on. So I'd like to thank, first of all, thanks Chili Bowl. That is Chili Bowl for agreeing to host this with us tonight. You know, tonight is really important. It's a really important month because it's small business owner, women's small business owner, but we're going to some black owned. So we're celebrating a black-owned business in here, and a lot of black-owned women businesses. So let's get ourselves in we have whiskey rights. Yes. We have Lucky So Lovely. Black women owned. We have behind us. Deron Pinder. I'm not sure if you can see him, but he's doing the work. He's a worldwide painter extraordinaire, and he'll be painting while we're doing this event. And next, I'd like to thank all of you for coming. We have to. My name is Mocha, and I'm so happy tonight to be sharing this evening with you, along with my good friend Russell. Because speaking of black-owned businesses, not only are we doing a reveal with Russell, but we are launching a black female-owned publishing company called Mocha. So I'd like to thank you for being part of this journey with me. You know, I look around here and I see a lot of these faces of people who always believed that even in spaces where black people weren't necessarily welcome, but for you all in my life, and even for Russell, you know, for trusting me with, number one, your books, two, visions and how you wanted your books to go and how you wanted your books published. I've been in this business for 16 years, and there's not a whole lot of us out there. But you know, we have been doing something for these past couple months. We have been standing up to the front and showing up in places where we were not supposed to necessarily be. So right now, I just want to celebrate. Look at all of you all, look at all of you out there and say, I don't care who told you, you're too black, you're too fat, you're too dumb, you're not supposed to be here. Anything anyone has told you of why they're not supposed to be in the space or the space you want to be. I also want you to think about a dream that you was given up. A dream that you said, I can't do this. I don't have enough courage to do this. Think about that dream and think about these businesses here tonight. I'm encouraging you that you don't leave here with anything else besides already book. Revive that dream tonight, because we have a major example about to come on this screen too. Who's going to tell us, who has shown and proved throughout the years that there is money in black business, that we are consumers, that we do make millionaires out of each other. So without any further ado, I would like to bring on my friend, my brother, Mr. Russell, my first author on Mocha Media.
Congratulations.
Hello. Welcome. Can you hear us?
I can hear you perfectly.
You can hear us? Okay, because we have something to tell you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Russell. Happy birthday to you.
Okay. Let me say this. Last night, my children arrived here to visit me. And they came to visit me, and then I had a surprise dinner. But I knew about the dinner just as I was finding out about their arrival. And so we made it a COVID testing party, and every single person who came to the dinner party was tested for COVID. 3 of the 70 or so people we tested positive. 2 then went back and retested and tested negative. They retested twice. All 3 got a swab test, which takes a couple days. It's interesting to note that I could go down the block from the forest that I live in and go to the healthcare center and pay 100,000 rupiah or $7 American for a rapid test, a very accurate 80 some odd percent test. So we had a COVID-free party according to the test. I guess some people don't show signs, but it's very little COVID here anyway. But I wanted to set a precedent, a Black House precedent, since the White House didn't have that. But you can test every single body that comes into your presence here. I know that rapid tests are not that expensive there, but they're not everywhere. So anyway, we did that last night. We had a celebration. They piped in a lot of people. I was supposed to show them my book cover, but I was told not to. And so I didn't show them the book cover. But it was actually, I don't like celebrating my birthday. I'm making a big deal of it. My 50th was big, 60th was big. It's just the 63rd birthday. It's like I'm 104. There's no reason to celebrate, except I guess that I'm still here. But the important thing about this moment with you is that I really want the rest of my life to be about service and about helping to uplift people spiritually and physically so that they can have happier, healthier lives. And I lost so many friends from COVID. I lost at least 12 friends. Imagine at my age, coming from Queens, New York, so many of my friends had pre-existing health conditions that were attacked by COVID. And then you see in the media people who are dying, others are dying in part and mostly because of their diet. And it's such an obvious thing to me after 20 some odd years, but to the whole world, it remains a continued unconscious behavioral practice. We continue to do, the humankind has done so much unconscious behavior, has promoted so much unconscious behavior on us. Sometimes we block out the truth, even if God speaks to us. You'll hear it, it'll ring a bell, and you'll be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go do it anyway, whatever it is. And so sometimes it's very difficult to get away from the unconscious behavior or the habits that are taught us from a young age. It's difficult. You do it over time, you develop a habit, and after 30 days or so, or whatever number of days, you just start to love what's good for you versus what you've been doing. Because of course, when you do what's good for you, it starts to feel good. There's a shift. And that shift, not only in consciousness, but in behavior, becomes the norm. It doesn't require discipline and that shit. It just becomes norm. And this is my vegan diet for over 20 some odd years. And I cheated. There's a place called ACK Chicken. Everybody gets mad when I say this shit. And when my kids were here once, we went to ACK Chicken. But I got so used to all of the great choices that I could make. I live in vegan Disneyland. And in LA, where I lived, and New York, where I visit all the time, those places are vegan Disneyland too. If you choose and you start to get a group of things that you love, you just have to get used to it. Oh shit, we're at Taco Bell. Well, have a bean burrito, and instead of it hot clogging cheese, put guacamole. And then you find that, so over the years, you find so many things, and it won't take you years because you're living in a world that's set up for a post-pandemic lifestyle. You're set up for it. And there's a lot of products, and if you're investing in things, invest in the future, the products, and the shift that will happen for us karmically and physically when we start to take on a plant-based diet for one. So what I have in the book is a group of recipes for one that is very cheap to prepare. And I have, a lot of the pre-existing health conditions, what they are, and how we can avoid them or reverse them. We're learning as we lose our friends. Maybe the last conversation I had with my best friend on this planet, I yelled at him and plugged him into a doctor because he told me he wasn't feeling well. He told me he got off the bike. I think he smoked a joint down the bike. But he sat down. He said, "Fuck, Russ, the room was spinning around." He said, and then I just sat down. I calmed down. We meditated. I sat still. And then I felt better. I said, "Andre, that sounds horrible." And I plugged him in and I yelled at him. We had a fight. But that was all right. Me and Andre, I saw a meme with Larry David that said, "Your best friend is so good a friend, you'd be like, 'Fuck you, I hate you, nigga, don't fuck with me.'" And after you finish cursing him out, you say, "I'll see you tomorrow." So that's the kind of conversation we had. It was very loving, but it was typical of us. And the next day he was gone. And I think that COVID's attacking parts of us that we leave vulnerable. And I think that we can strengthen those parts of us and we can avoid ever having them. And so this book is dedicated to those who want to make a little bit of a change and they want to feel happier and healthier as a result. And then they can be agents for change. So there's very little talk about the suffering. And I went vegan because of the suffering of animals. And as part of a training 20 some odd years ago for Jiva Mukti, the spiritual practice, they made you watch these horrible movies about the abuse of animals. And I just couldn't contribute. I mean, when I say it to black people, they get mad as hell, or Jews, the Holocaust, or that it's just such horrible, hateful behavior, the manufacturing of 200 billion lives, only so they can have a short life full of complete suffering, so that we can poison ourselves, poison the planet, and the karmic result it's so backwards. But we know it. Like I said, sometimes we know what's left, and then we go right anyway. So go left is the messaging. Like, let's try to, even if it's slowly, even if when you go to Taco Bell you get a guacamole instead of cheese on your bean burrito. But there's so many choices now that are developing, and there's companies you can invest in, and I gave you so many recipes. It's crazy. I mean, even Brother Gary, who came to me and worked with me for 30 some odd years, became a vegan chef, and some of the recipes that the Jamaican mixed with the Indonesian people, mixed with all, the macaroni and cheese and fried chicken and ribs and the food we had last night at my celebration. The lentil dal, no, not lentil, the cauliflower dal. Lentil dal is boring. Cauliflower dal. And the fettuccine that was made with a heavy cream sauce, but the cream sauce and also gluten-free pasta. It was made, everybody was thrilled. All the animal eaters were thrilled. And you can be too. And it's fun to explore a new option that makes you feel lighter and happier and healthier. So I want that to be a contribution. The money, of course, as in all my books, will be contributed to some of the good causes that I believe in that maybe uplift humanity or individuals. So that's what's going to happen. I'm going to promote this book. And I thank Mocha. I don't even know how to thank Mocha for coming to me and spent time with me and choosing to publish my book, because working with her has been a dream. Such a different experience from my previous 4 or 5 books. And it's a great experience. And a black woman like Mocha, an empowered one, is an example, because we should publish our own books. We should now move towards, empowering each other. And we've made choices sometimes because we've been taught to make those choices subconsciously, not to choose us first. But don't nobody know how to bring a room full of black people together like Mocha. Don't nobody know how to, doesn't understand, especially as this book is written, to get to the psyche. Eat to Live. By the way, it's Elijah Muhammad. You know, one of my heroes is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and his book was called Eat to Live, or How to Eat to Live, right, Brother Gary? And I wanted to ring a bell in black people's hearts and minds because I thought that would be, anyway, so that, did they have questions? Can I speak to them? Can they speak back? Mocha, do you have any questions or anything? I know we're going to unveil a cover, or should I just ramble? Like, last night, my party that they set up was insane. My daughters were part of it. You know, they piped in everybody from Naomi and Rihanna and music people, a lot of music people, and they piped in a bunch of, you know, people from all walks of life, civil rights activists, leaders. They piped in so many people from different walks of life. And, you know, even though I don't like celebrations of myself, I like to be a center in that way. It brought me to tears. So I had a beautiful party. I didn't unveil the book, Mocha. You told me don't. It wouldn't have been nowhere. But I will, you know, start. I'll do this big thing on Instagram once you launch it and start promoting it. What do I do now? What do I do? Do I keep talking?
Well, I guess you don't.
They heard enough. The book, Eat to Live. I've already written a book called The Happy Vegan, but the research keeps coming. The research, I told my friend Bobby Shriver this morning that the eggs he eats, because he makes his own eggs, so they're like 5 cigarettes, 1 egg. So how the fuck? Simon & Schuster checked these findings because they don't want to get sued. And Mocha, and they went to work and they made sure that we're not going to be sued. So the claims we make that seem absurd, that an egg is like 5 cigarettes and carcinogens, or that chicken is way more heart clogging than even beef, or not way more cholesterol, or, you know, things that are basic info that vegans know that is not being spread. The factory farming industry doesn't like me very much for many years, from pushing Jay and Beyonce and pushing Jermaine Dupri and so many loud voices in the black community, to just pushing compassionate diets and healthy diets. It's, you know, it's $1 trillion industry. And what we would do to the planet if we shifted, we could save the planet just by shifting our diet. The #1 cause, and I know this stuff is not the book. The book's about personal health, but it is a spiritual choice. Turn that on. The #1 cause of heart disease is animal product. The #1 cause of diabetes is animal product. You know, black women, we have heart disease. Oh, they're back. God.
I didn't want you to forget. I know there's discussion somewhere that person who died hard on this project. I know you had a partner really working on this project with you who's just as passionate as you are. You have a person working on this project with you who is just as diehard as you are about your lifestyle. So I wanted to just give you the space and her the space for you to introduce her.
But she's not. There's someone that wants to speak? Thank God.
No, he didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Your co-author. Your
Oh,
All right.
All right, Simone. Well, who's coming back? Okay. There we go. All right.
Oh, there's
can I
Russell.
introduce her? Can I introduce her? Simone Reyes. This is a very interesting story or backstory, I think. Well, it's not interesting. It's beautiful. I've known her since she was 16. She's worked for me for almost, I don't want to say 40 years because that would be, she don't like when I say that shit. She gets upset. But look at her. She looks 12. Almost 40 years. And Simone, she's going to say 38. What are you going to say, Simone? You always try to. And she's been an animal activist and a vegan. Miss Reyes has been for, I don't know, she'll tell you that, 30 years? I don't know, 27 years? Longer, right? So she'll need that for a very long time, but she does it because of compassion. So, and I'm not going to recommend you drink Pepsi, but she does it all for compassion, all for the animals. And she's been an activist. I mean, a hardcore, go to jail, fly to Japan and sit by the water and watch the whales. I mean, the dolphins. I mean, she's been a hardcore, go naked, wrap herself in plastic in the heat with blood all over her in 100-degree weather and dress like like the chicken that's in the plastic package and say, is this okay? And she's naked, like crazy shit. She's been doing this our whole lives. And it's only been, how long? 25 years I've been vegan less. But you've been vegan for longer, so a lot longer. And she's been pushing me, and she's obviously one of the top PETA members. And she's a writer, and she's worked with me my entire life through Def Jam, through Fat Farm, through all the civil rights work we've done. My God, the Hip Hop Summits and with Dr. Chavis and with all of the different companies. And she's run my life from all of these things. And then she became a film and TV exec, was making all of her dream shows on TV. And then the crash came. And so now we are dedicated to and for her, she's so thrilled, more activism. And also getting this message out. So she became my co-author, and her writing is equal to, at least, or better. And I don't want to, discount other people's writing than the previous books I've written. So I'm very glad to have her as a co-author and a lifelong friend. So now, Simone, I that's a little bit of the intro. I could go on forever and talk about it. Let me tell you a story. And she decided, when she was only writing my books, she rewrote my life story. This is the third book, by the way. It's the first book we're putting out. But while she was writing, she was not as fulfilled. So she always could sing. And here she is, a punk rock girl from the East Village, who said, I love country western. Our friends like, fuck, you love those. Because, the lifestyle, the choices they make, these things, it just seem so odd. And she made these incredible, a whole album and videos full of country western songs with beautiful melodies. And they're now getting traction in the country western world. It's a weird shit she did. But that is a testimony to people who, as we become older, we get stagnant and we don't do new shit. And it's one of the messages I always promote to all of us. Keep doing new shit. And Simone, that is inspiring to me. The most inspiring thing is that you can make that beautiful album while, it's shocking. So that's just another story of inspiration about Simone. Simone, tell them what you think about the book, I guess, or whatever.
I mean, Russell's always been such a warrior for the underserved. And the truth is, when it comes to COVID, and we've all been hit really hard, Russell in particular, there's so many of his friends that have fallen victim to COVID and not survived from Queens. And what we started seeing is that, communities of color continue to be hit the hardest by COVID. And that nationally, African-American deaths from COVID are nearly 2 times greater than would be expected based on their share of the population. In 4 states, the rate is 3 or 4 times greater.
Your Latino friends, yeah.
Well, in 42 states plus Washington, Hispanics and Latinos make up a greater share of confirmed cases than their share of the population. In 8 states, it's more than 4 times greater. And we also find, which is why this is happening, is in those communities, there's a higher rate of diabetes and obesity. Although certainly we see that the president has COVID and he is not Latino nor nor Black, but he is obese. And that puts him at a greater risk of having more severe complications from COVID, as well as hypertension and all of these comorbidities. And that's why people are actually getting COVID and not surviving it. And so what do? Is it possible that we can say, well, if you go vegan, you're not going to get COVID? Absolutely not. If you're not social distancing and you're not wearing masks and you're not being careful, you can easily get COVID. But can you up your chances of surviving it if you're eating properly and your immune system is strong? Absolutely. Can you cut down your risk if you are, not plant-based and you haven't got COVID yet, and all of a sudden, you do get COVID, but you don't have diabetes and you're not on blood pressure medication and things like that? That's going to help you. So we wanted to sort of tie that together in a book, since it's so incredibly important that people do everything that they can right now not to get this virus. Andrew Cuomo in our home state of New York said this might be halftime. We've already seen now that there are several zip codes that are kicking back up with COVID. The mayor today just announced that it looks like he's going to have to shut down again in certain areas of New York. And that's the bad weather is coming. And that was the fear that this is going to happen. So we all feel really powerless. Oh my God, what if I'm outside and, a jogger jogs past me and all of a sudden I'm walking out of my car and I don't have my mask on yet. And everybody feels very powerless because nobody can guarantee you that you're not going to get this. You might go to the doctor's office and somehow have to take off your mask and you run into the wrong person. Anything can happen. But what we can arm ourselves with and give ourselves the power back is to say, if I do get this horrible, horrible, horrible virus, at least I'm strong enough that I can try to get through it. And the only way to do that, in our opinion, is to go plant-based.
Well, Simone, it's more than that in our opinion. It's all the research. We did a lot of research.
Yes.
Right? In this book in particular. There's so much research that proves it, and it's, in our community, soul food is not. What's soulful about the food that we call soul food is that we took chitlins and made them shit taste good. That we took pig feet and made them taste good. That's what they gave us. The soul was the spirit that allowed us, or the creativity allowed us to make this food good. My macaroni and cheese is amazing. What did we use, Brother Gary? Brother Gary, what do we use for the macaroni and cheese?
Oh, it was cashew nuts.
Cashew nuts. And you just take them and put them in the blender with what?
Coconut milk.
With coconut milk.
Fresh coconut.
Fresh coconut milk. And you just put it in the blender,
Yeah.
and there go your cheese, or what else? Other shit.
Onions and garlic.
Onions and garlic. We onions and garlic and
herbs,
spicy. We soul food.
herbs.
There's so much soul food in the soul food. I mean, crazy soul food in our recipes, which we have 50 recipes or so.
Yes.
We just want to give people a way out. And it's so easy, and it's actually fun once you get started. It's literally like, there's so many cookbooks. There's one, Posh Cooks Vegan, right? That's the soul food. There's so many. Yeah, Mocha?
Yes. Oops, sorry. I didn't know.
I want you to finish your thought because we still have some for you here.
All right, well, Simone, you have any more to say? Simone's got a lot to say. So
I just want to say go vegan and listen to some country music because it's really good.
What? I say that. Anyway,
Go vegan and listen to some country music because it's really good.
I went vegan because of the practicing yoga. But quickly, you go vegan, you'll find other vegan friends, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, but your heart disease, oh yeah, but your diabetes, oh yeah, but your hypertension, oh yeah, but you lose all this weight, oh yeah, but, and then they'll say, the number one cause of global warming, and it's all these environmentalists. If you didn't eat animals, you wouldn't have climate change. That one thing would be enough. Right? That's one thing. Methane gas from the cows is the number one cause of climate change. Number one, the cows. Destruction of the rainforest. All of these environmental issues have to do with factory farming. But it's, for years, I've been campaigning for laws and promotions, and that's what Simone is also always in Washington, trying to change the law. and Trump, as we know, rolled back and said, "Oh, fuck this, destroy the planet." So they're fighting to make sure they reopen plants to make more animal products because we got to have our steak. I mean, just backwards shit. Backwards, wrong shit. There's no reason. And I think, it rings a bell. People get angry when we write. My last book was called Happy Vegan, and people were really mad at me. They read it like, oh, so now niggas don't eat pig feet. I mean, stuff like that comes out of people's mouths. Oh, so you can't eat my turkey. Ma, I brought my own tofu burger. That kind of stuff. So people don't like attacks on their lifestyle. But I want people to gradually digest the truth.
Okay, awesome.
Here in Bali, a lot of the hippies here, I live in the forest, very spiritual community. And a lot of these people do all kinds of things to know the truth and digest it. They smoke like toad oil and take ayahuasca. But they do these things so they can understand and digest it. We meditate so we can just forget what the priest told us, the rabbi, the imam. I mean, the original Torah told you don't eat animals, but and that's from all the children of Abraham. But forget that. What all the spiritual teachings are, we can digest them and either use them, or sometimes we have to discount them because we're told by the norm, and even our preachers, rabbis, imams, and others, to do unconscious stuff, to do stuff that is hurtful to ourselves and people around us. So we have to meditate and do practices to know ourselves, and when we know ourselves, we know the truth. So that's kind of when someone yells at you about animals. My book is called Happy Vegan. I swear, so many people, friends who read it. The rest were already converted. They're reading for no good reason. But those who are changing or shifting slightly, they get defensive. So of course it's natural to be a little defensive. But the facts are there. Science is there. And the opportunity is here. So we hope that people will take the opportunity.
All right. Well, we can tell you're very, very passionate about this, and we can go all evening with you. But you gotta save some for the book. Save some of this stuff. You gotta save some for the book.
Oh, there's a lot in the book.
You gotta save some for the book. Yeah. So thank you, Simone, for joining us. Simone, you're in LA, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you for the work that you and Russell have put together. All right, see you soon. All right, so now, sir, this is a familiar face to you. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
How you doing?
Very good. How are you?
We're good. Well, we got something for you. We got a friend who's also from Hollis Springs, Mr. DeMar Pena.
You're so small, even though it's
We're going to get this to you. Oh, exactly. So DeMar has actually been painting this painting the entire time we've been here. So he took an idea, and as you can see, I think there's two elements here that you might recognize. Can you hear him? Yes? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. No, I was saying, so he's taken a few elements that I'm sure you recognize. Your dear son, your girls, and something that's coming a little bit later.
Get bigger. I see you guys. I see everything. I'm old as hell. Give me those glasses, guys.
was you were talking tonight.
I literally was shaking my head like an old person. Like, oh yeah, that's so nice. Piece of art. Abstract. I put on my glasses.
So tonight,
How beautiful that is. Yes.
so tonight Pender is actually from House Queens as well. Can you hear that? Did you hear me? Then yes, he's from House as well. And then, as you can see, we're gonna let this go. We're gonna move back now.
That picture that inspired him, or that he took those images from 35 years ago or so.
Yes.
What's interesting about that picture of me, I know I look old as hell now, but I look 35 years older than that then. But that was not only the diet. People always say it's the diet, but it was also the cocaine. But you can reverse the way I look in that picture.
All right. Okay, so last but not least, what we've come here for, to do a final toast. To do a final toast in honor of your very next New York Times bestseller. And on your birthday, we bless you, we honor you. It is our pleasure to introduce you to your next New York Times bestseller, a project from your heart. Salud.
Well, I have one thing to say about it. I wanted to make sure it was fun. And, there's all these broccoli, all these ideas. And just here we go with a nasty ass cheeseburger. But that burger has like so much less cholesterol. That gluten-free bread, that cheese is cashew nut cheese. That, so it's really easy. And you'll see in the book how easy it is and how cheap. Black people are 3 times more likely to be vegan than their white counterparts. And no one's really worked in our community to help us to have more vegan options. But it's because also people's perception that the vegan food is expensive. Yes, they make it hard. But if people pay attention, we can make it all cheap. And more affordable than the animal product. So I just wanted to say that. That's a great company. Mocha, thank you for creating it. It's beautiful.
All right. So we're making this number 5, right?
Yes.
All right. So this is coming out at the end of the year after we finish having our Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that stuff. When we start to make our New Year's resolutions, eat to live. And we're going to have a challenge and all kinds of good stuff, right? You're going to teach us how.
30-day challenge.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much. Happy birthday. I love you, big brother.
I love you too. Thank you so much.
All right. Good night.